and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are artist Larry Poons and actress Valerie Pettiford. Painter Larry Poons was born in Tokyo and raised in New York. He studied at the New England Conservatory of Music and 2 years later transferred to the Boston Museum School of Fine Arts. His first one-man show at Richard Bellamy's Green Gallery was followed by work at MoMA. The Museum of Fine Arts in Boston had an exhibition, and subsequently from the 80s to present, you can find Larry Poons in major museums and private collections throughout the world. He's visiting us today from New York. Thank you, Larry.
You're welcome.
After this joint exhibition that you just did at two galleries, Denise and Lori, what's her name?
Lori Bookstein.
Lori Bookstein, right.
Denise Gallery and Lori Bookstein.
And one of the critics said your work is very musical and very colorful. How so?
Well, it's not musical. It doesn't make any sounds. So.
But doesn't it said it was lyrical in a way?
Well, lyrical, it's a subjective term. Somebody thinks it's lyrical. I don't know what that means. I think Mondrian's lyrical.
I think what happened was we went back to the New England Conservatory where you were a music student, and I was thinking that maybe that music came out in your work.
I don't know. I mean, I wanted to be a composer like Beethoven. Not writing Beethoven's music, but that kind of thing. It's like if you want to be a writer, you want to be a writer like Tolstoy, you want to be a writer like somebody else.
Well, Beethoven the Fifth, the emperor's.
Well, so like, I just found out that I was like better at painting. I mean, it came more natural. I ran into a brick wall with the...
With composing?
With, not composing, just music in general when it came to counterpoint and stuff like that. I didn't know where I was, and I thought, well, you know, if I don't know where I am, I'm not doing something that I should be doing. Meaning, I might become a teacher somewhere.
Oh, I see.
An applied musician, but I didn't want to be an applied musician.
Did you play an instrument?
I played guitar and sung country music. I got into the conservatory singing a Hank Williams song.
Is that right?
They must have needed the money.
Wait, and you had these aspirations of Beethoven? I mean, well, with your guitar?
Beethoven and Hank Williams are the same thing in my book.
Oh, I like that.
Well, they are.
If
They're
you
good.
Like the music,
They're
it's
good.
Great.
No,
yeah,
no,
exactly,
no. It's not a question of liking the music. It's a question of being moved by the music, which doesn't necessarily entail liking it.
Oh,
I mean,
but if you're moved, aren't you feeling like you like it? Can you be moved if you're not?
I think it's redundant to be moved and then say you liked it.
You do?
Yeah.
Because I think when you're listening to something,
yeah.
it transforms you. Or if you're looking at a painting, you should be transformed in some way.
I don't know if you're
isn't it liking? Or maybe it's not liking.
Well,
maybe if you're transformed, it's not transformed in the right way, maybe not in a fun way.
Well, transforming implies change. The words you're using to me imply change. I don't know if anything changes you. I think that
Don't you think?
I'm just thinking about that.
Yeah.
I don't think it changes you. I think if you're sensitive to it, you don't will your sensitivity to it. You don't decide to be sensitive to it. You're just simply moved by it.
So you're moved by it. And you were not going to be a composer. You must have been more moved by art.
I think the first thing I wanted to be was go to the Grand Ole Opry and be a country singer. And I had a band in high school. We used, and it just didn't seem like it was going to happen because I was from the North and other things that it just wasn't available to me. And because I moved into poetry pretty quick, along with my other interests.
Were you writing songs If you moved into poetry, you were writing songs.
Yeah, I was writing poetry, and some guy who worked in a record store, got me interested, and, said, you ought to listen to this. And so, it was Wagner, and I love this stuff,
Yeah.
And so that got me into, also liking, there's your word again, that kind of music, as well as,
Country.
Bill Monroe or Hank Williams or...
But Wagner, it took a long time.
Not me.
To like Wagner.
It hit me like a ton of bricks.
Oh, well, so you're lucky. So it moved you, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I say that, because it's not because it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just true. Yeah. Okay,
so let's go back to the music. And what was the turning point for you to decide you could go to the Boston Museum?
Well, I was painting. I had friends over at Harvard who followed me up to Boston. I got to Boston first, and then friends from Great Neck went to Harvard, and I started hanging out up there, and I was painting pictures, and as well as doing the music stuff. And so I was painting up there without thinking that much about it. I painted a little bit in Great Neck. When I got to that point in music where it started to get into counterpoint and harmonies, it didn't come natural to me. And just something, I don't know, something just told me, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
And I just stopped going to music school and just hung out at Harvard. I actually sold a painting to one of my friends over there.
What was it like? What kind of painting was it?
Let's see, it was a Mondrian-esque, but not Mondrian-esque, but it was a geometric painting.
Was it?
in oil, on oil board, and the guy bought it.
So that was pretty exciting.
Well, when I was still in high school, you see, what happened is that in the year behind me, Frank Coppola was in the same high school, and so we were friends, and his mother bought a painting of mine, which she still owns.
Oh, she does?
So I've been told. Yeah.
Oh.
So that was happening all the time, but it never dawned on me. It never occurred to me. Painting. It was music.
Well, that's what I wondered.
Beethoven. But then I just couldn't. It didn't come natural, and something without words. But I'm going backwards and just describing the emotion. I thought, I can't do this. I can't do this the way I think I should be doing it. Be able to do it. It shouldn't be so damn foreign to me. How am I going to sit down? And I'd look at scores all the time, and write something like this. I look at the score and I can't hear it.
That's what you have to do. What happens?
Well, it's like I'm looking at something beautiful, and I love looking at them because they're terrific looking things, even printed scores or handwritten scores. I always like the way they look too. Still do.
Those are very, well, was that an influence on that first?
I guess it must have been, because I liked it, but I never thought about it as an influence. This was just stuff, again, that I liked.
That's really interesting, because your first paintings were...
Not the first paintings.
But the ones that everyone says, oh, Larry Poons, they think of one kind of thing. They don't think of the abstract like you're painting now, or the slushy ups and downs. What were you calling those? What were those called?
The first time I realized that... I don't know if it was the first time. The first thing I ever wanted to be, was serious about, was astronomy. I wanted to be an astronomer. Yeah. The thing that stopped me from pursuing that was the fact I couldn't learn mathematics. Mathematics was just like music became to me in the conservatory. I don't get it. My brain just doesn't work that way, and my brain just didn't seem to respond to this extra knowledge that was being required. And I realized, geez, this has got to become as natural to me as hearing a Hank Williams sing and responding to it. It wasn't happening, but yet I was painting.
Yeah, you were painting, and those influences.
But I never had. Everything's with us all the time. We never forget or lose anything.
Though, when you said that, it just brought the notes out to me.
Well, the first dot picture. I give a whole lecture on like how those pictures.
I know, you've lectured all
yeah,
over.
Who
Lectured,
needs that? Who needs that?
No, but you've guest lectured at schools and colleges all over the U.S.
At that time, it was like I was doing things which were like progressions across graph papers, squared off things. And you'd start at one point on, say you get 8 points in a square, okay? You got the 4 middles and the 4 corners, right? So just put a dot in this, and you go clockwise. The next one will go up here, and you move from square to square to square. Then you can reverse that, and it goes backwards again. And then you can make variations and variations on that.
Moving them around.
So right. But then what I first did with that point idea is I connected the points with straight lines, and the 2 shapes that would appear on the canvas would be like kind of jagged lightning bolts or something, And I wasn't too happy with them. And I mentioned this to a friend, and no, I didn't mention it to a friend, but I asked somebody's advice. It was Henry Geltzoller, actually, who I knew a little bit at the time. And he said, you got to keep it simple, Larry. So I said, simple. I'll just paint the points.
That's so... But do you do this when you lecture? Do you tell this story?
I can if I'm asked.
I see.
Because ask the right question, and I guess I can't think of all this stuff.
But you have to lay the background, and the background.
Well, if it's needed, if it's needed, you see, and all that. You see, I always thought I couldn't draw. I probably, the drawing. I couldn't draw in art school. I mean, I felt I couldn't draw. I finally found a way that it kind of worked if I didn't look at the paper. If I just looked at you and let my arm go, I'd get more of a likeness than I could get staring holes in you and then turning my eyes to the paper.
Right?
And that's how it worked for me. Meaning there was, looking back on it, I get spooked when I talk like this because smart people like Thomas Merton once said, define a thing and you lose it. Well, it's gone.
But you found it.
Well, no, it's gone now. But that doesn't mean it doesn't mean you're helpless. You find a way to do things. It's like I didn't choose. I chose the world of art because it was most natural to me. The entire thing was natural. And then, as time went on, certain things became less natural. You see, less natural.
Right.
And what you might say. What appeared to me to be true is that I knew what I was doing without knowing what I was doing. I knew how to do it, which meant that I could write. If that had been music, I would have said, "I'm off, Stravinsky, watch out, I'm coming."
You could do it, yeah.
Yeah, you got to do what you can do best, because that's the only way you might get better. If you do what you can do best,
that's right.
Then that's the only chance you have to get better at whatever it is. If you start off doing what you can't do, somebody else is always better than you right now.
Exactly.
And so how are you going to get better? To get as good as they are now?
I have to be better than I am now, but I thank you for coming on to do this interview. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Actress, singer, dancer, award-winning Valerie Pettiford, who hails from Queens and went to the School of the Performing Arts in New York. She said that she's a fame baby, so we'll hear what she has to say. You've seen her on Broadway as a member of the original cast of Sophisticated Ladies and Fosse, so I guess she's a good dancer. On the screen in The Wiz and The Cotton Club and many other films, and in TV series of Half and Half and Tyler Perry's House of Pain. And of course, lots of spots on other shows. Her album, Starring You, consists of original lullabies. Tell me what Starring You and lullabies. Were you brought up on lullabies?
No, not really. I mean, my mom has a beautiful voice, so she would always sing to us, but not necessarily lullabies.
I know. How does one get lullabies?
Well, it's kind of a long story. My ex-husband, who I'm still dear friends with, came up with this idea when we were still married to do lullabies because he loved my voice. And he said, I want to do a lullaby, but all originals. So we got together, 2 teams, Ron Abel and Chuck Steffen, and Michael Orland and Jamie Wooten to write songs and compose songs. So we did like 12, and then
so they are all original.
All original lullabies, and hopefully we're going to put it out in the fall sometime.
So even if your mother did sing lullabies to you, and I'm thinking, here's this diva Valerie singing these songs, how would they be?
Oh, they're literally beautiful, sweet, funny. It's about bonding with baby. That's why we originally did it in the first place. And so there's something for everyone, for mommy, for daddy, you know.
And are they very soft?
Very soft, very fun. It's very soothing for your child. And also playful and interactive.
And what kind of background music?
What kind of background music?
I mean, are you using an orchestra?
We have a little, actually, yeah, it's a little bit of orchestra or just like a trio. It suits each song very specifically.
Did your career take shape as a lady hearing lullabies, or did it take place somewhere much more exciting?
My career took shape from, oh my gosh, my mom and dad always said that I came out dancing. So my heavy influences were not only them, but also movie musicals.
Oh, they were.
Oh my God, that's what I used to watch on television all the time, was movie musicals, and I knew that's what I wanted to do.
But so you knew that early on.
Yeah, I knew it.
And
exactly
then how did you get into that school?
Well, I went to Bernice Johnson Performing Arts Dance School first.
Oh, you did?
And then I auditioned for Performing Arts High School, and I went in as a ballet major.
Oh,
and then, yes, I wanted to be a prima ballerina in the beginning. And then I fell in love with my modern dance teacher, Penny Frank, and she was just amazing. And then it would introduce me to, and also Bernice Johnson, all kinds of other types of dance, Afro-Cuban, jazz, tap.
Oh, that's why there's a longer life than ballet, isn't there?
Yes.
What would you say the break was for you in show business?
The break for me in show business, I think, well, my first professional job was the Wiz movie.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you.
For me.
I was going to say, well, how did you get into singing and acting and something like that?
Oh my gosh, audition at a very early age, and actually I left Performing Art High School.
Oh, you were that young?
Yes, I left the high school to do that movie because at that particular school you could not perform and work at the same time. There's a school called Professional Children's School, which I ended up going to, where you could do both.
How old were you?
I was 16, going on 17.
Oh, you were. And what did your mom think?
My mom and dad were like, oh my God, you're crazy, but you will go back and get your diploma.
Oh yeah.
Which I did. So I ended up graduating from Professional Children's.
You've gotten so many awards, NAACP and the Wild Party, and also for Showboat. Yes. What roles did you have in those films?
And the shows, Showboat, I played Julie.
Oh my
beautiful.
gosh.
Beautiful, tragic Julie. In The Wild Party, I played Queenie.
Who were you playing with at that time?
What do you mean?
Opposite. Yeah.
Oh, opposite. Okay. In Showboat, because I did it for 2.5 years.
You did?
On the road for 2.5 years. People came and went. We had John McMartin. We had Robert Morris. We had one of my favorites, and I can't think of his name right now. He passed away. George Grizzard.
Oh.
George. This was our Captain Andes. And we had beautiful Patty Cohenauer, who played at Magnolia at one time.
And where did you go? All across the country, back and forth in 2.5 years?
2.5 years, all over the in the United States as well as Canada.
Oh, you did as well.
We also had Cloris Leachman in the show. Cloris Leachman and I, we one of the two that stayed like the entire 2.5 year.
Was that the first time you had been on the road like that?
No.
Oh, so you were old.
I was old hat. What
do you do when you live in? Where were you living then?
At New York.
So you're living in New York and you're on the road for 2.5 years. What happens to your living quarters, your plants, your cat?
Well, I think when we ended up doing was selling the place that we lived in, knowing that we were going to go on the road for that length of time, and knowing that we also were going to stay in Los Angeles after the
Oh,
ride.
you did.
Yeah.
And then did you move here after
Yeah,
that?
sure did.
Oh,
we jumped ship after Showboat.
Did everybody want to do that? Because
No.
this was the place.
I know a lot of people ended up staying.
Tell me about sophisticated ladies.
Oh, now, I mean, that was early on in my career as well. And I was the understudy to Drew Jameson as well as the swing. That's how I came on the project.
The swing. Tell us what a swing is.
Oh my gosh. Oh, bravo to all the swings and understudies out there, because we keep up the ship.
Really?
It is the role of a swing to understudy, to take the place of the original performer, the main performer who is injured or cannot make a performance.
Only the chief performer?
Well, that's
or
the
you
understudy.
do all the other stuff?
The understudy. Well, there are many understudies that understudy more than one role, not only the lead role, but the supporting role.
Oh, but the
And
swing?
swing is usually for the ensemble. So you end up on my show. I ended up swinging for particular.
Oh, you did, but you
people.
still sing on stage. You're still part of the group. And
No.
then-
Your
you're
specific
not.
job is just to fill in when that person is injured.
So you come every day.
You come every day.
You come every day.
You come every day, and if someone's injured, you're on, and if you're not, you're still there, because it's live theater.
You don't push anyone down the
No,
stairs.
no. No, not at all. But yeah, you have to be there, because unfortunately sometimes people get hurt during the show.
Did you have to learn a certain style?
Well, the style of what the choreography called for in that show, and that was, celebrating Duke Ellington's music. It was a review, so we had tap, we had a little bit of, the Afro-Cuban, because there was a number called the moosh. And of course, it's best to have the technique, the jazz and ballet technique, to be able to do any form of dance.
Talking about technique, do you continue to study those
I
things?
try. Unfortunately, after so many years, a couple of injuries keep me from dancing the way I want to.
But do you have to fake it if you go on stage?
Absolutely. You do what you have to.
But you do continue taking lessons?
I believe in lessons, whether it's acting, singing, or dance.
And do you play an instrument?
No, I don't.
You're so musical.
No, I don't. I don't.
Was
play
your
any
family musical?
They loved music. My mom could sing. My sister can sing. They loved it. Yes, so they were, not that they specifically went in as a profession, but we always had music in the house.
So.
There was always something about the arts. We would always go see theater. My mom's sisters, from fashion to, cuisine. We always were doing something that was very creative. So
and
blessed.
artistic, yeah. I love that you were with Cheetah Rivera in Chicago. How great is she?
She's the ultimate uber woman on the face of this earth. We were the first Americans to do Chicago in London.
And you went and did that?
I did her role that she originated, Velma, and of course she played Roxy, so it was amazing.
That was fantastic. And at the Kennedy Center you performed.
I have the honor of, to help celebrate her being honored for the Kennedy Center.
Wasn't that great?
It was amazing.
All that jazz?
All
what did
that
you do?
jazz. I did all that jazz.
You sang, you danced?
I sang and I danced for the president at the time. And,
so it was on this Kennedy Center stage?
Yes.
And they were sitting in the box?
Yes.
And how long did you have to rehearse for that?
Not long, because I'd already done the number. Rob Marshall directed and put whole, tribute of cheetahs together. So we had Charlotte Dubois, who did Cheetah's role in West Side Story. We had Donna Murphy, who sang Kiss of the Spider Woman. And then I ended the series with all that jazz.
Is Donna Murphy on Broadway now?
Yes, she is. I want to see her show.
She's so great.
She's amazing.
What did you do with her?
Well, the first job I've ever did with Donna was One Life to Live, the soap opera.
Oh, is that right?
She was recurring as, I think, a detective or a lawyer.
Because she's in The People in the Picture.
Yes.
And Artie Butler wrote it with Mike Stoller.
Absolutely.
And Iris Dart, my
Yes.
friend, wrote the book.
Oh,
I saw it
wonderful.
in New York. It was great, but I didn't realize that she played like a 19-year-old and a 90-year-old.
She's extraordinary, and as I said, we did the soaps way back when in the early 90s together.
Were you on stage together?
Never on stage together. I mean, I came close, of course, to the Kennedy Center honors, but nothing with her. I mean, that would be a great honor for me to work with her on the stage.
Where are you the happiest? Dancing, singing, acting?
Anything live.
Oh, really?
So whether it's dancing, singing, acting, anything live.
People are so afraid of that.
I love it. I love it.
And your new movie?
Yes, yes, Jumping the Broom. That's at a theater near you. Oh my God.
Tell us about it.
It's a wonderful romantic comedy set in a wedding, and it's two families, the uptown and downtown rich and not so rich, come together, meeting for the first time at a wedding.
And the two kids are getting married,
And
of
two
course.
kids are getting married, and just, you know, the relatives, the friends that they bring, and all the mayhem that comes with all of that. And it's hysterical, it's touching, it's a beautiful, wonderful movie for everyone.
Who directed it?
And a gentleman by the name of Salim Akil, he directs the show The Game that's on, it's a huge success on, I think, BET.
Oh, good.
And
Oh, yes.
this is his film debut as a director, and we're very proud of him.
And we have you.
Thank you so much.
And keep writing, JAQUINN1 at AOL.com. The emails are great. And 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles 90017.